Welcome to episode 93 of The Bar is Ankle High, your weekly ADHD podcast that explores life's low bars with wit and wisdom. My name is Katie.
I'm Garrett.
And if you want extended episodes, because Patreon got one hell of an extended cut today, you can join our Patreon for just $5 a month at patreon.com/thebarIsAnkleHigh. You get extended cut and ad-free audio episodes, extended cut and ad-free video episodes. You also get added to our close friends list on Instagram, and every once in a while, we drop a bonus episode into the Patreon feed. And you get an on-air shout-out, and if you decide to, you get, like, goodies in the mail from us periodically. I think that's all I have for housekeeping. What are we talking about today? Because I didn't do any work.
I didn't do a lot of work. So I thought we could talk about, and this was something that you had posed also. I thought we could talk about, like, kind of how to make your house work for you with ADHD. So I tried to break it into, like, you know, some, like, functional things that you can do, but then also, like, kind of the flow of things, and then also, like, aesthetically. And then I had some other things that I wasn't sure what they really fell under, so we'll just kind of cover those. But I figured this is really going to be more conversational than anything. So I thought it was important to break these down into different things because, like, you know, at a certain point, like, changing, you know, oh, I'm going to have this room set up to do this is completely a privileged stance. Like, if you have enough space, if you're living in a space big enough to, like, have rooms have a certain function, not everybody does. Like, you have lots of rooms that need to be multifunctional. So that's why I tried to break it into, like, different sections. So it wasn't just like, you should build a whole storage solution to handle all of these things, and you just have to buy like 10 grand worth of lumber and another $1,000 worth of totes with this labeling system, and it's just like absurd sometimes. So like little things that you can do around the house. I think my dream, so I have not ever redone a kitchen. But if I ever redo a kitchen or do a kitchen, I've decided, and I've wanted to do this in my own kitchen, but it's one of those, like, you tell your spouse, hey, I want to rip all the cabinets off the wall. And they go, no. So I think in an ideal kitchen, and maybe we could go like room to room, like things that we think would be like ideal, which I think actually would be a better setup than I have right now. But anyway, didn't occur to me until just now. So I feel like if you had a kitchen that had bottom cabinets, or I would also like open boxes on the bottom, so it's like freeform. I also like the drawers that slide out, the big huge drawers.
I really want like deep drawers. Yeah. Amazing. Especially for like pots and pans.
Mm-hmm. That's where we have
ours.
That's
my dream.
But I think specifically the upper shelves, I think should be open shelves. Like, I do not want another upper cabinet for as long as I live, because I think about all the times where I'm multitasking and doing stuff in the kitchen really fast. And if I can be taking stuff and just like using it and putting it back and grabbing the next thing, or I got to run to the store and I can quick look and say, oh, okay, you know what? We're low on this and this and this and out of this. And have things out and visual, because, I mean, how many times have we talked about, like, if it has doors, it doesn't exist, or it's a mess, or whatever else. I think, A, it would keep me from, like, accumulating extra stuff, and B, would make cleaning up easier, setting up easier. I think, and that's why I think, like, those cube storage things are kind of nice for that reason, that you can just, like, you know what I'm talking, the cube... The open cubes, the like storage things that you can get.
Like that they have like those bins that you put you could put into them.
Yeah, or you can have them open and just have stuff in them.
Okay.
I think that they're kind of helpful for that same reason, because everything is just like open, visual, easy
All
to
I can
access.
say is that it is so clear in this moment that you don't have a cat.
Yeah, no,
Because
no
that
cats.
is what would happen to open shelves in my kitchen, is that my cats would go on them and not necessarily even knock stuff off, but like Sophie has, if I've left a cabinet to open, has gone into the cabinet and I turn back around and she, like, I have pictures on my Instagram of her in the spice cabinet, just like chilling behind the basil.
She's like, oh, is she going to bed? Let me find a glass. Let me find the most delicate glass in this whole fucking house.
I mean, truly, there's that too. Yeah. So I would, if I were to have open shelves, I would need them to have like a teeny tiny railing.
Well, they do
the
have,
front.
so that is like, I mean, and it is like aesthetically like a really pretty thing too. They have like those, I can't, plate rails or something.
Oh yeah.
There's like little tiny bars that you can get that go across the front, like to keep things from tipping off, which I think would be helpful. But that would be like my dream in a kitchen, is to only have bottom cabinets and have everything open on top.
I want in my dream kitchen that isn't in my current house, that has a pretty tight kitchen, I'd have a pretty good sized island, probably like 10 feet by 4 feet, maybe 8 feet by 4 feet, but a decent sized island. And in the island would be those deep drawers. But one of those drawers would be for like plates and bowls and whatever. And then I'd have those like round canisters that they have at like buffets. And that's what my silverware would go into, not the silverware tray in the drawer.
I hate the silverware tray.
Drives
I
me
hate it.
fucking nuts.
We got 2 sets of silverware because it's just like, life.
Yeah.
And it doesn't fit. It never fits. Why?
Nope.
Why aren't, if every set of silverware comes with like cake fork and like salad fork or whatever, and like teaspoon and tablespoon, and then like not butter knives, why don't we have enough things all the same size for those?
Yep. No, that's an excellent question, and one that would be solved by my canister solution.
Yeah. No, I think
because
literally
I
anything
also
else.
like, for us, like I put all of the forks together, I put all of the spoons together, because like what choice do I have? But if I had the space, I would at least separate the tablespoons and the teaspoons. But like, yeah, no, it's just, that drawer is the bane of my existence. I hate that drawer.
Yeah, that and all of our cabinets, for whatever reason, like the people that lived in the house before us that did the kitchen were very tall people.
Your kitchen is an extremely tall kitchen. PK is perfectly comfortable there. I
do dishes, and I swear to God, my nipples get wet. Like the countertops come up so high, they almost come up to my boobs.
Wet t-shirt contest.
Truly, just doing dishes. Like
that's what my grandparents' house was like. They redid their master bath, or their primary bath, in their house. And both of my grandparents were 6 feet tall or more. So their counters in their bathroom are like 4.5 feet tall. So they always had a step stool in there, because that was also the bathroom that all the grandkids would use when we went over. But like they had an extra tall toilet. And like even now I'm like resting my elbows on this countertop to like wash my hands when I stay there. It is the funniest thing. And PK is like, this is amazing. Like, yeah, well, tall people made this house.
So we did a bathroom, and the guy that was doing our bathroom was a petite man, and he was laughing because I was really insistent on needing a short toilet. I was like, no, we're getting a short toilet. And they were like, what do you want to sit on the floor? And I said, oh, I'm sorry. Have you sat on a tall toilet, fellow short person, and had your legs fall asleep? Because I have, and I hate it. I don't like my feet not being able to touch the floor. So
he's just there in the public restroom, like feet dangling, like
swinging,
whistling away.
Yeah, happy as can be. Meanwhile, I find it demeaning.
Like your baby in the stroller the other day with her feet just going.
Yeah. Just like I find it very frustrating to be dealing with such a tall kitchen. So they like did these super high fucking countertops, and then the upper cabinets, which are also high, for whatever reason, nothing fits in these cabinets. I can't stand a single thing up the way it's supposed to go. No boxes fit. Nothing. They're all too shallow. So I'm like, you know what would fucking fix this? Is if I could have my open shelves. If I could just have like 2 or 3 big, huge shelves that go all the way across, I could fix this problem and not have to deal with it. And that would be, I think, as far as like a kitchen goes, that's going to be my biggest thing. I do think having there's like 2 things I need to have in every room, and it's like some kind of trash can, because there's nothing worse than like you just need to throw something small away. And it's always like a Band-Aid wrapper.
Yeah.
Or you ate a Reese's and now you've got the little thing of foil.
It's never stuff that's like you don't have to empty that trash every week. Like it's nothing that would smell or rot or whatever. But
no, it's like a waste paper basket.
Yeah.
Which like the flip side of that is I'm saying I have them all over my house. I am notorious for forgetting to empty them. So it's one of those like I'll remember every couple of months when they're like overflowing and I can't stand to stick another thing in them. And I get mad every time I do it. That's what makes me clean it.
Yeah, I do have to give PK props because he's the one that empties our bathroom trash bin all the time, even though it's out in the open and I see it too. But he's the one that empties it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm bad at it.
Me too.
I just like have a very
because I will just stuff it all down. Like
yeah, until stuff is falling out of it, and then I'm furious that I can't toss something in there. Then I empty it. Then I'm good about it. But I've also found sometimes the thing to do is just to take a garbage bag and walk around to find all the random little garbage cans I have and empty them. But I just think it's really annoying to like have something you have to throw away and have to like leave the room. So every room has some kind of little trash can, including my car also has like something I can put trash in. Always.
Oh, that's just what I call the passenger seat.
Love it. One of those like Katie and I having 2 different flavors of ADHD.
What is the point of having rubber floor mats if it's not also a trash can over there?
Katie's like, how much can I stress Garrett out in this moment?
I also think for a kitchen, if I were to do a remodel, I hate having a double sink right now. My double sink drives me absolutely.
Is it like mine where it's so fucking tiny?
Yes.
I can't fit shit in it.
We can.
And it splashes all over the nipples, which I've already said are very close to the countertop.
I can put some of my baking dishes in there, but not all of them. And it's just the kind of thing like I can only put them in facing a certain direction. And like, if I could just have them all in the one sink, I'd be fucking set. And like the other thing is that PK is the one that generally does the dishes for us. And he will wait until both sinks are completely full before filling the dishwasher, which like has gotten
just
to some.
The thought of that made me stressed.
It drives me nuts. And so because he doesn't want to fill the dishwasher and not run it right away, which again, deranged. I'm working on it.
Who gives a shit?
I'm working on it because there's like times where I'm like, can you do the dishes? Like, are you going to like, not to nag, but like, are you planning to do the dishes today?
It's a
like
shared space. So we both need to be cool with how we're doing this.
And it's the sort of thing where like, and generally I try to be the one to at least empty the dishwasher so that he has a clean slate of whatever he needs to fill it with.
Oh yeah, because that's the worst feeling.
But like, it's the kind of thing where like, I'll say like, hey, by the way, I emptied the dishwasher. Like,
and then you
here's
try
your
and be
hint.
really nice about it. But then like 2 months later, you're like, hey, I usually get to the point where I go, if you don't do this, I'm going to smother you in your sleep. You know that.
PK said that to me about rinsing out my cups.
I'll rinse out my cups when you are emptying the dishwasher or filling up the dishwasher
He was
regularly.
like, if you don't, he like said it in a way and he's like, and if you don't rinse out your cup, you're going to be single. And he like kind of giggled at the end.
That's how we do.
And it like caught me so off guard. I almost like pissed my pants laughing because I was so caught off guard. Just like,
yes, we
it's just
all the
ridiculous. Time. So no, we've got like those little. I wouldn't promote them to the level of a Tiffany, but I would. You know, they're getting there.
Yeah, I mean it's a hard thing to maintain. Friends of ours just got a new dishwasher, which it's like, you know, how mundane is life that you're like, a new dishwasher.
I know, but I'm like, what kind?
It's fucking cool because they have this little rack that comes out at the very top that holds the silverware.
Yes.
Everything has like its own little spot. And I'm like, you know what? This setup prevents a lot of dishwasher disagreements.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because PK hates when I put knives into the silverware basket before anything else. I don't know. Like, he puts them in at the absolute last. He has like this really bad intrusive thought that like he's gonna fall or like put his hand like flat on top of the knife. I don't know. It's just like because I was like doing something and I just like he was doing the dishes and I had a knife and I just like put it in there and he's like, why would you do that while I'm doing the dishes? And I was like, why are you mad?
I don't put like chopping like knives. Not knife knives? Knife knives? Cutting knives? Like cutting like
the one doesn't even feel like a word anymore.
I want to say the knives to cut things, but like every knife is to cut things.
Opposed
other than
to
steak
like,
knife or butter knife.
Okay, so like a knife that you would put in a block.
Block is what I was looking for.
Okay.
Board is what was coming to mind. I'm like cutting board. That's not helping me. Knives, cutting things, cutting board. Woof. Yeah, like anything that goes. So I don't have a cutting board. I have one of those like cutting knife block. Fuck. I have the magnetic thing, which is another ADHD thing that's been very beneficial. I can just slap them up there and they stick. Those knives get hand washed. I don't put those in the dishwasher.
Oh, ours, I would normally hand wash those. PK puts them in the dishwasher so they get dull faster, but not my problem.
I don't even put them in the sink. I just set them next to the sink and clean them separately. And
I put them in the sink. I don't care. But I put the longer knives I put on the top rack of the dishwasher. But yeah, anything that's a short knife, like a paring knife or something, I'll put in the silverware basket. And
so that's
he
why
just
he thinks
like
you're trying to kill him.
had a conniption over it. And I was like, but in my head, I'm like, don't put your hand flat on top of the silverware basket. Like,
so I do see some parallels.
You're a stable person.
Our relationship, I have gotten mad sometimes because I feel like my spouse has a lot of rules when it comes to dishes, and
PK does.
Like what? And PK has a lot of rules, and you
a
tell me
lot
the
of
rules, and I'm
rules.
like, that's fucking crazy. And then I'm like, oh wait, my spouse also has a lot of rules.
Yeah.
So I've like, because he also primarily does the dishes, I've tried to like bend on certain things, but now like I try and follow his lead. And when he gives me a hard time, I'm like, I am not incorporating any other fucking rules to this process. You can deal with what you get just like I do. So like,
yeah,
there's like so much bending that you can do. And then you get to the point where you're like, I'm not, no.
Oh,
it's too much.
And it's honestly, I think one of the biggest like successes for us in living together was deciding that like he is in charge of washing the dishes, because this man uses, which is fine, paper napkins. Like I don't have cloth napkins, but he like crumples them up and then leaves them on his plate and then puts his plate next to the sink. That's instead of just like, I will throw out, like I'll just clear my plate, put my plate in the sink, like into the trash, and then put my plate in the sink, and that's it. And he'll just like leave the tissue there or the napkin there. And I'm like, what the fuck you walked past the trash can to get to the sink.
Like we've had the same thing, and I am PK.
Drives me fucking nuts. And like, because to me, I'm like, if you don't have fucking paper on all of these plates, then I can just turn on the water instead of having to like debride the plates.
Oh, it's
before going into washing them. Like it's absolutely nuts.
So that was something I bent on. I was like, okay, I'll stop.
So like he does that, and also he like hand washes the inside of every cup, which I just think is deranged because we have a dishwasher. But he uses a sponge, and I don't use sponges generally because I don't like when they get that musty smell, because then it gets stuck on my hands and I want to chop my own hand off. But so I use
it goes on the dishes too.
And I use a dish brush, which doesn't get that musty smell, but also like would get into the bottom of the cups, and I'm like, just use that. nope,
Yeah.
won't use it. And I'm like, okay, well, that was my solution for you.
He and
So,
I also have that. I generally like, I think my bridge too far was eventually like, I am very neat in the kitchen. I clean up after myself as I go. I use a minimal number of things. So usually by the time he's cleaning the kitchen, I've already done like a good 50% of it. So I'm like, okay, buddy, he'll be mad when he hears this, but whatever. So I think that having something like that, like, and now they have those fridges too with like the camera on the inside, and I can't speak to that because I haven't used anything like that, but I think that open shelves.
I do like the idea
non-cat
that you
owner-
can like the fridge that you like knock on and it just like the glass stops
That's
being
witchcraft.
opaque. Yeah, but it's like that way you don't have to like open the door and like see
Yeah.
what's in there. You can just like knock on it and then make your list for the store or whatever.
Wild.
But yeah, I'm assuming it's more that it's like a camera and then a screen and like it's
Yeah.
showing you, but still you like knock on it and it and also I think I was reading an article or something and it was like around the time that like, cause I feel like within the last 5 years has been kind of like the proliferation of smart appliances. Like you can say like, stove, set a timer for 15 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And then your stove will do this, or stove preheat to 350 or, oven or whatever. Like, and your thing will do that. And like, there were two sides of the argument of like, why are we doing this? Like, how lazy are you? Like you're cooking, you should be paying attention to your oven. Yes, but then the counterpoint to that was actually like, no, it's an accessibility feature. Like people who are blind or who have like visibility or mobility issues maybe can't reach the dials on a normal oven or stove, but can like a little person who has shorter arms. Like the Natalia Grace thing. Like she was dealing with regular sized appliances and had to like come up with these workarounds that weren't necessarily safe.
Yeah.
So it was just like an interesting perspective where, if you look at it from like an accessibility standpoint of what would make my life more accessible, what would make it, do I need 2 trash cans in my kitchen so that it's just easier for me to, where I'm prepping, I have a trash can, and then there's like the general trash can for whatever.
I put out a bowl that I put food scraps into as I'm prepping stuff so that I don't
That's
have,
what
like,
I do. Or not a bowl,
stuff.
but like usually I have like the bag that produce comes in, or like that you put your
something to
like I
collect
use
stuff.
that to like put all my shit in because it's always like the papery skin from like an onion that like I'll find little pieces of it like for days and it drives me absolutely nuts.
Yeah, same.
But it's like those little things. So like, finding those types of things that really work for you. Like we have we have a drawer for like the bigger like serving utensils, but I also have like an up and down, like just a holder for them on the counter because
the more
like
everyday ones.
yeah, like everyday ones, but also ones that are like kind of a bitch to have in the drawer. Like the drawer isn't particularly deep. And so
Like a potato masher.
yes.
Can the people who make a potato masher and the people who make cabinetry have fucking conversation with one another because I'm sick of this.
I would
I'm sick of
also in my dream kitchen island with the deep drawers, I would also be having canisters for those large
Stupid things.
serving utensils or cooking utensils because again, like love the look of cleared off countertops. I cannot accomplish that with the kitchen that I currently occupy. It just it can't happen. Like
I remember
there's nowhere for me to put anything.
Our old kitchen, I had one drawer and it was this wide.
I had
That was all I had in the kitchen. Everything else was cabinets.
I had in my apartment, I had there were 3 drawers that were each 11 inches wide on the top of the lower cabinets. And then on one side next to my sink, I had like a row. I had one drawer that was like 6 inches wide and a little bit deeper than the other drawers. And then underneath was just a cabinet, like a skinny cabinet. So I had like no storage space at my last place. Like there's still limited storage here, but it is slightly better. Like I have a place to put fucking dish rags in this kitchen that I didn't have before.
But it is like, even I have a drawer that I keep like towels in, but it's so shallow, my towels get stuck. So it's like I just feel like
I need deeper drawers. Like all drawers should be deeper.
Right.
Like Katie
I
2024.
just feel that's my campaign slogan. Drawers should be deeper. Cabinets should fit boxes. But it really is like it's one of those like square peg round hole. Like I've got ADHD. I have these executive function problems. Executive dysfunction. And then also there's all of these just like random everyday things that like already don't work that just make it that much worse. Yeah. So it's like I feel
those
like
barriers
also,
to entry for us, I think.
Yes,
because it's
like,
that thing where it's like already horrible.
Yes.
And then
it's like that much worse.
Right. Like I struggle, like I've walked past the same like tumbleweed of cat fur in this office all week.
Yeah.
It's still there. Yeah. It doesn't, and the reason, because my stick vacuum is upstairs in our bedroom because that's where PK was using it last weekend, which I'm grateful that he vacuumed our bedroom. It really needed to be done. But he left the vacuum up there. Yeah, but it's just one of
those like,
I haven't done this. I walk past the vacuum every single day this week. Didn't bring it downstairs.
But it's like, oh, I'm carrying something else down.
Yeah.
I don't want to also carry that. So yeah, no, it's totally.
I've also seen it for kitchens in particular. It's like I don't know if I'm sure you've seen it before, but like those whole house vacuum systems.
Oh, yeah.
But like they have it built into the floorboards underneath the cabinets.
Yeah.
So you like sweep into it and you just like, it sucks all the dirt. I'm like, that's fucking genius.
Love that.
Yeah.
I would love one of those. I know like I worked at a vet's office or something.
I would love it if I don't have to clean out whatever canister that feeds into. I feel like that would be a nightmare. They had like
a thing where you could just, you undid the hose and you could like plug it in someplace else and you could just like suck wherever you were. But yeah, I think we did at one point we used to have just like hooks in our like hallway where like coats get stored. And it was a shit show. It was like you can fit like 5 things on those. So what we did instead, I saw like a version of this somewhere, but we took these pieces of wood, and I think we painted them black, and we mounted them. So there's a whole bunch of them, and then we put hooks in at different, so they're all offset. So we have like a bazillion hooks because how annoying is it to, oh my God, I can't hang this up because I need to clean the winter coats off, and I can't do that because I have something else stored in my closet that I have to take out and figure out what to do with. It's like it was like we need to do this because I'm going to lose my mind.
Totally.
I also have like baskets in every room. So if I need to like, I know some people like they collect clutter or you're just going to fill them with shit. The flip side is when my kitchen table is a disaster and I'm going to have people over.
Well, right. Like the alternative is that the shit is just out everywhere. So like either way, I've got extra shit in my house that like is going to exist here because I guess what? I do need the tiny roll of Scotch tape and I do need this pair of scissors. I just don't need it right now. I needed it 15 days ago.
And I know I plan on doing this, so I'm going to need it again. So I'm just going to like throw everything. And it allows me to like quick clear the decks. And or we need to sit down to eat dinner and I can just like clear things off. So I think that that's another really like good little tip. Another thing that we've always done in the 2 places that we've lived is the laundry we always put on the main living floor. So like I know that if that laundry's in the basement, it's gonna take something that's already a problem for me and make it 1,001 times worse. So we'll take like an old closet or like I would rather lose the storage space upstairs and have my laundry there. And like now we've had it on, I should say, on the first floor, which in our old house our bedroom was upstairs, but at least like it was very easy to, toss the laundry and have it like when you're cleaning and doing other stuff, your laundry's right in and with everything. So if I need to throw another load in, if I need to switch things over, whatever else, grab the laundry to fold it. I don't have to go up the basement stairs because I don't think you see my basement stairs, but I think they're haunted.
Oh, I think I've seen them once because when I was over one time.
Was it one of our toilet problems?
It was when we were first starting the podcast. So it was like the summer before you got pregnant. and you, oh no, because we had a full year before you got pregnant. So yeah, it was our first summer recording, and your dad was over doing something with the pipes or something, and I was using like the downstairs bathroom because is the door right there by your downstairs bath? So like that was open or something, and I like briefly saw your dad, and he had like some getup on, and
yeah, doing something in our basement.
yeah, but no, those stairs. Well, they also like so my picturing of them is like it's almost like a like very steep and also extremely narrow.
Yep.
And like kind of like windy. Like they looked like the stairs from the end of National Treasure when they're like going down into like underneath the church. Like that's what those stairs look like.
Decrepit.
Yeah, like but like more squished together. Like at the very end when the sidekick guy is like, "Look, stairs," and it's the stairs to get out, and he's like, "So that's what those stairs looked like." But like
they're horrible.
Okay, well, I'm glad that I'm not misremembering because I'd feel bad if I was like mischaracterizing your house.
I really don't like going
the rest
up
of your
and
house
down
does
them.
not look like this.
Oh, thank
promise
you.
people.
The rest of your house is not that decrepit.
It's still it's lovely.
Oh, thank you. But those basements are
except for that
awful.
melted wire, you're fine.
Oh God, the melted wire. As long as the wires inside aren't too melted. But like
we'll never know.
That's true. But that is like a thing that we've just always done is move the washer and dryer to like the main area where we spend our time, so that you're not going like up and down the stairs. Because also like how many times do you have to check a load of laundry and it's not dry in the dryer?
I've never had that problem. PK has like a whole, again, it's like him with the dishes. Like he will restart the dryer and I'm like, you understand that costs money, right? This dryer is from like 1981.
Yeah.
This dryer has never heard of Energy Star. This dryer took Energy Star out behind a building and murdered it. Like
it's like
this is
energy
not,
black hole instead of Energy Star.
Like this is like, this dryer was made as a fuck you to the Iran oil crisis. Like this is not, no, this is not a friendly dryer, and it works great. So like
friendly dryer.
But the dryer works great. So I've never had that issue. Although when our power went out the other day, he came home from work and he was like, "Did you restart the dryer?" And I like looked at him and I was like, "Why would I have done that?" And he was like, "'Cause you started the dryer when you got up in the morning." And I was like, "Right, but the power went out at like 8:30." And he was like, "Well, yeah, but you didn't restart it." And I was like, "No, you didn't say anything. Like, no, I've completely forgotten that I started the dryer this morning." Like
that's how my brain works.
Right. Like it was just the kind of thing where I was like, it didn't even like, no, it didn't occur to me. So
yeah.
I haven't been down there since. It doesn't bother me so much that it's in the dryer or in the basement, but I did make PK set up because we had like a spare like kitchen table. And I made him put it down there so that I'd have a place to put my laundry when it's folded.
Oh, that's a great idea.
I do better when I can like fold and sort it as I'm folding. Yeah, and then at least when I put it into the laundry bin, it's like in category. So when I take it out, it can go right into drawers. And then, you know, he makes me question whether or not we're meant to be because he will just pile his shit on top of my folding table. Because he doesn't fold his laundry. He just throws it into a different laundry bin. But we did get we have like at this point, like 6 different laundry bins because like, I just need them. Like if I'm not putting my laundry away.
I'm never putting my laundry. No, I used to put my laundry away. I can't now because I just don't have a spot for it. And I don't know what size
I can put it away. It just like, once it's folded, it's done in my head. So it's like living in that bin. So like, it would be better if our laundry was like in our bedroom. Because then, again, as it folded, I could just sort it onto the bed and then immediately put it away.
Well, and another ADHD thing is we had this like absurdly tiny room that like couldn't be used for anything. So it turned into like my like little dressing room. So like all of my shit was in there. My hair, makeup, accessories, purses, shoes, everything was in there. And I had everything visual. So there was no like remembering where something was stored or, you know, do I have something in that color? Like everything was like out so I could see it. And I've lost that. But one day we'll get back, and I'll have things organized again. And I do think like from like flow in your house too, you know, we got to the point where we've got this like heirloom dining room table and chairs that I love. It was like my great grandmother's set, and it's beautiful, but I have a kitchen table that we eat at, and I needed that space. So it turned into like an office den room instead of a dining room, and we had to get a storage unit to put the table in for the time being. But it's like I also, you wind up with this overflow everywhere else because like this one area can't function in a better way.
Right.
So we had to just kind of call it and take the table down. And I mean, it's kind of like you have to live in a place for a little while to kind of get a feel for like how you use the space.
Yep.
And if you need to rework something, like you rework something. Like if something's not, one of the things we said is like, wow, if we're ever in another place, like we need a room for just hobby stuff because we both have ADHD. We both are like hobby people. We like trying different, you know, artistic ventures, and we're like always dabbling with new stuff. And I don't have a place to put it. Like it's kind of in the room where we have our podcast stuff set up. Like every room has like 6 functions. And some of that is like just an old house with no storage space. So there's really not a lot of place to put things. But some of it is just like, you know, if something doesn't work, like rework it. Kind of like buying, you know, if you're going to buy organizational stuff, like I try and buy stuff that can be used for anything. So I'm not buying a storage solution for, you know, to store drawing stuff because we have all this like drawing stuff because my spouse likes to draw but can't because we don't have a spot where stuff can like really be set up.
Right.
So
and it's such a bitch to like get everything set up and then take it down and then get it set up. Like, yeah.
Right. So it's just one of those like, am I going to buy something that just stores drawing stuff? No. I'm going to get something that, you know, if we move or if we rearrange rooms again and need to move something around and I can use it for something else. Like I got this shoe rack that can also just double as like a shelf on the floor. And it doesn't really look like a shoe rack. If you have shoes on it, it does. But you could also like wipe it down. And
it's a dead giveaway for a shoe rack.
It's in the shape of a shoe. So I think like, you know, having stuff that's like multifunctional, having, you know, something that's got storage in it. Like I always thought those couches that have the chaise, you can like pull the end up and it's got like storage in it.
That's my dream. My dream couch. Actually, there's a company that
is it Lovesac?
No. That sounds like a euphemism for scrotum.
Okay. I was curious what it would be the euphemism for. I thought you were going to say something really heinous. I wasn't expecting just testicles. I mean, they're heinous,
but there's I think it's called Home Reserve actually, but they make a couch. It's like a kind of like fully modular. So you like pick which bits of a couch you want, the setup you want, and then the covers for it are completely interchangeable and removable. So like they have like ultra durable ones, and then they've like rated all of the colors and the fabrics. So there's like ones that are stain proof or like animal proof and like good for shedding animals and like stuff like that. So it's, I mean, I think it would be like maybe probably about $2,000 to get that kind of couch in our place. But
which like for a new couch, you're going to pay that anyway.
I mean, more or less like, and
within a few hundred.
But the thing about it, the reason I haven't really like pulled the trigger on it is because Coco digs. So having the cushions be removable isn't ideal because she will just dig them off of the couch, which is why we have a complete slip cover over our couch now, because otherwise we'd come home and there'd be no cushions on the couch.
Yeah.
But Also, underneath those cushions is like storage space. You can like lift it up and you can tuck stuff in there. And I'm like, that's fucking
Yeah.
genius. That'd be perfect because
Yeah.
we don't need all of the blankets out all of the time, especially in the
That's the
summer.
thing.
And
Yeah. Is
like
like being able to put big, bulky blankets in.
even those little things like the extra controllers or like random living room stuff that like ends up on the coffee table and then you need to put it in a basket because it has to go
Yes.
somewhere. But
Yes.
like I did one of the cleaning videos that I did for our TikTok. I like in the voiceover I was like, the coffee table, it's the bane of my existence. It just
That's how our
accumulates
kitchen table is.
everything and like
Yeah.
there's nowhere for this stuff to go. Like I have the brushes for the cats on there because when I'm watching TV is when the cats want to snuggle and that's the only time I can really brush them.
I always have like nail stuff by
Yes,
the TV.
I have a box with
Yeah.
my nail stuff too.
Yeah. I do think there's like something to be said for having functional stuff. Like you can get stuff that look and the great thing about now, I mean, with
Yes.
social media and the internet, like I mean targeted ads.
Yes.
I get ads for stuff and I'm like, that's fucking brilliant. And I've
Yes.
gotten some great stuff because I want something that's like multifunctional that can work for lots of things.
And is easy to use. Like I don't want
Yes.
something like a storage solution or a cleaning solution or something that
That's
like
complex.
yeah, that takes like, 9 different steps to set up and implement and I have to completely like tear out my current like system or whatever. Like I just want something that I can work into what I'm currently doing in a way that's like kind of organic and makes it easier. Like having the spin brush thing to clean the shower. Like that's enough novelty. It doesn't completely change what I do to clean a shower. But
It's just more efficient.
it's just more right. It's just a little thing to make it different. And like also we did at your tip, we did change our shower head to one of the handheld ones.
So much better, right?
And I am slightly vindicated because PK installed it and he was like, "Are you sure you want this here?" And I was like, "Yes." And he was like, "Right, but like the hose for it is like over the hanging
Yeah, it
thing that
hangs
goes
over
on."
the front,
And
yeah.
so he was like, "But what about this?" And I was like, "That's exactly what I said to Garrett."
Yeah. And like it's annoying, but the benefit of having the like hand part that comes off.
Yeah. Also,
I
I've
have
done
to clean too many things, and I have that tiny ass kitchen sink.
Yes.
So it's like if I need to clean something big, it has to go in the shower. So
you clean your dishes in the shower?
oh yeah, only.
Oh. You're like Kramer.
No, but like like dog stuff or like
Yeah.
anything that's like really big. It's like
I did my
can't-
hair with that the other day and it was great because the one that we got also has like a stop feature. So it just won't flow at all. So I could like turn it off and like get the shampoo in and then rinse it. And it was just so nice because it was like I had done something in the backyard. Like I wasn't like filthy. Like I didn't need a shower, but I was like hot. And I was like,
Yeah.
you know what would
Yeah.
feel great is cold water on my head. And yeah, it was nice.
Actually, like right in the back down there. It's so
Oh, it was a
nice.
good feeling.
Yeah, I think like making sure that you're setting stuff up in a way where like the flow works. I saw one where it's very I don't know how much people are familiar with like Six Sigma concepts, but my spouse is like a I don't know, lean black belt Six
Yes.
Sigma professional or whatever. It's like operational efficiency basically.
Yeah.
Which can be really helpful. I was actually thinking about doing an episode on it just on its own. Because there's some concepts that are like really good for ADHD. And one of them is like when you're looking at a process, you're mapping where someone's walking to do
Yes.
something.
They did that at the OR my mom worked at when she was
Yes.
in the OR. Yeah.
Right. Because they use it a lot in the medical field, a ton
Yes.
in the medical field. And it's, you can look at, oh my God, look at all this wasted time just walking back and forth to
Yes.
do things instead of like reorganizing. So I think like paying attention to that and paying attention to flow. Like I finally realized like maybe I should have my coffee maker near my sink and where I keep the coffee and put the mugs near it so that everything is right there. So I'm not like every time I make a pot of coffee, like having to walk over and do something else and then come back. So I think flow is really important, especially with like ADHD, like initiating tasks, completing tasks, if you have things in a way where like the flow works, it makes that, it like reduces another barrier for you. And I think from like an aesthetic perspective, an environment that doesn't have like a lot of distractions or like I'm very big on like a cozy, relaxed space. So like obviously I love lights like a baby. And I've got those like all over the place because I fucking, if there's overhead lights on, I think my brain doesn't work. I only like soft lighting. So in my house, it's like soft lighting, cozy, comfy, pretty quiet. Like those are the things that I'm always trying to include in my environment so that I can like keep things like, so even this time of year, I like having a cozy blanket on the couch. So in case I'm like oversaturated and I need a minute, I can just like cocoon and try and become a person again. And I think it does help with focus. Like when you have less of this, it does help you focus a little bit better.
By this, she was putting her hands around her head.
My hands were shaking around my head to talk about things being stressful and chaotic. And I think one of the things that I saw mentioned was, trying like getting storage solutions, furniture, decor that like promote relaxation and organization and focus. And one of the things that they mentioned was furniture that offers comfort, but also promotes good posture, which is kind of funny because we were talking about bad posture with hypermobility. And I know a friend of mine describes herself as sitting like a shrimp while she works.
Yeah.
So it just, I like kind of laughed when I saw that. But I think like there's ways that, you can now find like a kind of like chic, like cool thing to put in your house that has function to it. That is going to help you stay like marginally organized or at least know where things are.
Yeah.
Like I know for a while I was using those cake stands for like putting perfume on or, storing hair stuff on. I had them like all over the place. And I would just get them like on clearance, like chipped at like Marshall's or something.
Yeah.
For like a couple bucks. And I would use that as like a storage solution or like outside the shower. So if I forgot to take off my watch, I could like toss my watch or a hair tie or whatever on it. Like little things like that like look cool and reflect your personal taste, but are keeping you from losing things and being as scattered. Color was another thing. Using colors that are like, I guess, soothing or like kind of promote. They say that they like promote productivity, but I think that's like a little extreme. I think it's more that it's just like a soothing color to have around. I know like I tend to go for a lot of like blues, greens, like earthy, kind of moodier, darker colors. That's what I prefer. And they tell you to avoid like a lot of like bright, really saturated primary colors because it can increase heart rate and heighten anxiety.
I just love that for that tip. And in this video on Patreon, I'm wearing a hot pink sweater and you are wearing a nice soothing blue sweater.
I have on dark green and I have my lights. I mean, they also mention things like, utilizing like a tile or like those Amazon little finder things or, using a virtual assistant to like, make sure that you're changing your smoke detector batteries regularly and shit like that. I mean, I've talked before about having a whiteboard on our fridge has been like really clutch for us and really helpful. And that's like something like it's inexpensive. Like pretty much anybody can do that. Putting things on auto ship. There was like other little helpful things for around the house, but I just felt like from a core perspective, like thinking outside the box, which ADHD, like it's something we're usually pretty good at, and problem solving, like be less concerned with somebody coming over and being like, are you using this for that?
For like an ADHD house that works for you, like as you were saying, like thinking outside the box, there's that aspect of it. But I also think that, you know, through the progression of our podcast, we've learned that like to not expect things and systems that were designed by neurotypicals or for the general population, like to not expect those to work for us. So if we can, you know, find things that work for us or use things that already exist in a way that is working for us, then like that's the goal, right? Like who cares if you're using like, you know, 15 different hooks for your front entryway instead of just like a normal coat rack, or, you know, like if it works for you and it gets the same job done, then like who gives a shit, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, it doesn't have to be. And I think that's, you know, a lot of the unlearning that we've done is like figuring out how to accept that, like, you know, if it gets the job done, then
Yeah.
like whatever.
It gets the job done. Like my life is easier. There's less things I'm forgetting, and like I'm the one who's using it every day.
Right.
So
yeah,
like truly, like who gives a shit? Like who cares if this is making my life easier, or this has dealt with all of these other like clutter issues I had around the house, or like whatever it is. You know, no set of baskets is gonna like cure your ADHD. But, you know, we can.
That's why we're a basket case.
There we go. But it's also worth like making your life easier. I don't. There's been so many times where I'm like, oh, I can just put some of this multi-surface cleaner in the bathroom instead of going to get it from the kitchen every time I have to use it.
Yep.
Or oh, I can just do this and put this here instead of. Who am I fighting? Who is telling me that I can't do this? So, yeah, no, highly recommend having things out, visual, easily accessible, where you need them. I think you sent that TikTok too, where that lady was like talking about all of her dog walking stuff was like all together with like the poop bags and the sneakers and the, you know, the jacket and leash and all that stuff. Like that is how everything is in my house. Everything that you need for that is all grouped in together.
Same.
Or I'll get multiples. That's another thing I had written down. Yeah. Was like multiples of something I use all the time. The baby wears this like eating smock, and I only have one of them. And she uses it 3 times a day, at least every day. And I'm constantly having to wash it off and dry it or like throw it in the wash. But then I forget to start up the laundry. It's just like a whole thing. So finally my spouse just like flipped and was like, I'm ordering 2 more of these. We use them constantly, and like everything else we have multiples of. And I'm like, why am I making my life harder? I'm just going to get
having multiples of things is like accepting that it's okay to have multiples of the same thing has been like very freeing for me. It's been very helpful. Like I have multiple vacuum cleaners.
Yeah.
It's just easier.
I'm allowed to have 2 toothbrushes if that means that I'm going to brush my teeth twice a day, or you know, if I have one here and one here, like whatever it is. I'm just at the point where I'm like, this is going to make my life easier. I was at, you know, we are not using this dining room table. All it is doing is collecting stuff. We need to take it down and turn this into something else.
Totally.
And that was not me that made that call, because I was having a really hard time with it. So my spouse had to make the call. But it's, you know, I think there's a lot of like maturity that comes with being like, you know, this isn't working. This is stupid. Yeah. I'm going to come up with a system that works. I said to him that before we take our next big road trip, I'm going to come up with a system to prevent puke from getting into every bit of the car seat, because what a pain. But I just think, you know, be open-minded. Also, if you're like looking for a place to live, be open-minded, because sometimes you get in there and you're like, I thought this thing was stupid and this is the fucking best, whatever the thing was, you know. Or be open-minded, you know, if you've got the type of budget where you can be like renovating things or reworking something, or you're buying a house, whatever it is, go into it, you know, with your ADHD extra worldly creativity, and, you know, be creative and and one of those like let your ADHD run.
I thought you were going to say like be creative and otherworldly. It's like, yeah,
And that.
let's go.
Do that too. Become extraterrestrial. Be an alien. Be weird.
Ideal.
Leave the planet. In a saucer.
Mm-hmm.
That fits on a fucking shelf because you don't have your stupid cabinets anymore because they don't work. I'm really mad at my kitchen cabinets and my kitchen sink.
Well, if you want to help Garrett remodel her kitchen, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/thebarisAnkleHigh. For just $5 a month, you get added to our close friends list on Instagram. You also get ad-free and extended cut video and audio only episodes. And you get an on-air shout out, and you also get goodies in the mail from us periodically. You can check out our merch at bit.ly/anklehighmerch. merch. It's anyone's guess if those hats I talked about a little while ago in a different episode are still there.
I forgot about the hats.
Anyone's guess. But, go and check it out anyway. And you can follow us on Instagram and Threads at @thebarisAnkleHigh, and we're on TikTok at AnkleHighPod. Every Tuesday on Instagram, I post to our public stories a episode title poll contest. If you correctly guess what title we chose for that week's episode, you'll be entered to win a free podcast sticker and some other goodies in the mail. It is open to listeners worldwide. We have international stamps. We will use them. So make sure you're following us so that you can see our stories and play along. And I think that's it. Oh, leave us a 5-star review anywhere you can find us, especially Apple Podcasts. If you can write out a review for us, it's just super clutch and is very helpful. And of course, tell your friends about us.
Yes. And
because word of mouth is the best recommendation. But in the meantime, be otherworldly and leave the planet and design a house that works for you.
Or a living space, any type of living space.
Yeah. Because the bar is ankle high.
Bye.
Bye.